It's bridges to nowhere and stimulus packages that no one read to pay for sidewalk repairs on the other side of the country. It's congressional pet projects and pork for groups like Acorn. What is truly outrageous about and extra insulting about paying our taxes this year is this bottomless pit we're throwing our money down. The great Milton Friedman once said, "The real level of taxation is government spending." This isn't about everyone paying their fair share or worse, spreading the wealth. It's about government's insatiable appetite for spending and growth into every area of our lives. Government spending is the real, actual burden we are all forced to bear. And of course, the whole point is the government doesn't have any of its own money to spend, it's ours. In fact, there are only 3 ways to spend money you don't have: taxes, borrowing, or printing.
They're doing all 3. All 3, right.
Taxing, of course, increases as government spending goes up. Our president has promised that he will only increase taxes on the rich and that 95% of Americans will actually get a tax cut. That's so nice of him, because it's actually very preposterous to raise taxes on the very people who have capital and invest in our economy. Completely unrealistic. And while this kind of breakneck spending and bigger, badder government programs on the way, more taxes on everyone is the only way to cover the cost. That's why those tax hikes that affect everyone, not just the very rich, are hidden. Obama, Pelosi, and Reid call it... Our comrades on the Hill, they like to call it things like cap and trade, which is really just a massive tax on energy to pay for things like socialized medicine and put our energy producers on the street. Moreover, the tax hikes will never be enough. For instance, here in Pennsylvania, cigarette taxes, things like that. They go after these nanny state things, and the taxes are never there. They never get what they want. It's just more and more. That's why it's so important to fight the little ones before it gets bigger. The second way to spend money you don't have is borrowing. Currently, this is the fastest growing part of our budget, but this massive debt is unsustainable. Last fall, we heard about companies that are too big to fail. Well, America is too big to bail out. Other countries can't and won't buy all our debt. This isn't monopoly. These are real dollars that must be repaid. Not by us. We couldn't make a dent in the hole Congress has dug, but by taking from our children and our grandchildren to pay for today's problems. Finally, the third way to spend money that you don't have is by printing it. This is the most insidious practice, and it's already starting. This will create long-term inflation, recreating the economic morass of the 1970s. This is utterly contemptuous. We foot the bill, and Washington turns around and makes the little we've saved worth less and less. Inflationary settings remove all incentive to invest and save as wealth is systematically destroyed and good ideas are left on the shelf. The entrepreneurs and hardworking Americans are the only ones who create jobs and prosperity. Taxes, borrowing, and printing to pay for big government tears down and penalizes success. Ultimately, spending and government expansion is the root of this evil. Obama's stimulus bailed out cities, states, and counties who didn't feel they needed to stick to a budget just like everyone else. This was a bureaucracy bailout, not the people who are hurting. Want a real stimulus? Cut the budget, shrink the government, live not...
Restore liberty.
Live not within political desires, but we, the people, can afford. I'm from FreedomWorks. We are a national grassroots organization of over 500,000 people. I'm based in DC, but I grew up in Williamsport across the state. And we fight, like we said earlier, for lower taxes, less government, and more freedom. Joining an organization like this is one way that you can start to fight back. This Tea Party and thousands like it today are only the beginning. Every movement was once an idea, once an individual, a spark that caught fire. We need this passion to continue and to burn all the way to Washington, D.C. Yesterday, we announced that we are organizing a rally on September 12th, 9/12, and I hope that you all join us there. Please